This Area 51 video appears to capture no less than 5 bright lights traveling in a tight cluster. It kind of looks like the government could be testing military-grade flares at first, until the lights mysteriously stop in midair, hover for a bit, and then move in the exact opposite direction. These sophisticated flight patterns seem to suggest that they are piloted by intelligent beings. At the 1 minute mark, all the lights grow intensely bright and almost meld into one solid form, at which point a smaller piece breaks off and moves upwards. This looks like no aircraft that has ever existed before, and as far as many are concerned, it can only be one of 2 options: a top secret government prototype, or else actual aliens. An abundance of paranormal activity means Stephanie Elmager is never truly home alone.
I'm gonna walk around my house. The reason I'm filming this right now is I'm trying to catch some paranormal activity on my recorder. As you can see, there is nobody in my house. Do you hear that? My TV just came on.
A kids program politely tells her to get out of the house, and then the lights turn on by themselves.
And the alarm just went off. Do you see this? There is nobody in this house. The TV just came on. Holy. If that was a ghost, give me another sign. Anything. You gotta be kidding me. Does everybody see that?
She crosses the kitchen to show us where the light switches are, and
there is nobody in this house. Look, the lights are right there. If anybody at all, I'm gonna turn it off. It was even up. Look, if anybody, holy, what the?
A bedroom is haunted by a pale figure with a long crooked neck who is either standing behind or on top of her bed. When she does a double take, she finds it much closer now, peering at her from around the door.
Oh my God. Okay, I don't get scared very often. Oh, that just freaked me out. Okay, let's walk back in there.
I agree with her completely. I saw it too, so either this is a real ghost sighting, which I'm almost sure it is, or we are both losing our minds.
I am not losing my mind. There is nobody in here. Look, there is nobody anywhere.
A slamming door wakes up Tiana Wilson and her family, who have long suspected their house to be haunted. They grab a camera and timidly go exploring upstairs. Shortly afterwards, an alarm fills the house and things get even creepier.
What's that beeping?
Oh, listen.
No way. Oh, we need to go.
That's what the beeping is. It's the fridge.
They shut the fridge and wonder how it was open in the first place. That's when their grandmother, who is staying with them for a few days, comes to see what the commotion is.
Did you leave the fridge door open, Mom?
I can't remember if I did. I know I went in and took a bucket of water out. Probably I did.
The grandmother isn't sure if she left the fridge open or not.
What's this now? Have you been asleep, Ruby?
Yes, is the knife down here wake me up? I don't get up this time of morning.
Is my mum a ghost?
But she definitely didn't shut any doors.
I'm sure it's about 1:30.
I can see something.
And when they go back and review the video, they find a shadow figure staring at them from the end of the hallway. Freaky, right? A phantom drifts past, never to be seen or heard from again. Published by Tammy Jackson in December of 2019. This Ring camera footage captured something incredibly eerie in this person's yard. The footage shows a pale, full-bodied figure drifting across the yard. No features are discernible. It then appears to vanish. That's when the motion-activated lights on the garage are triggered. They shine brightly, casting light all across across the yard, but there's nothing there. A house light also appears to be triggered, but still nothing else appears in the yard. Do ghosts trigger motion sensors? If not a ghost, who is this? I guess we'll never know for sure. Jal Bundy has caught some weird things on camera while exploring the forest outside of his village late at night.
আস্তে 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 কেরে কেরে ওখানে কেরে দেখুন 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 দেখুন
In front of them is the white outline of a phantom apparition that for some reason stands out against a backdrop of total darkness. When they rush towards the apparition, you can see it shrinks into a small ball of paranormal energy and disappears around the tree. Is this strange ball of light edited or really paranormal is what I want to know. I feel like this video could be real because it's late at night. They sound scared and those woods look scary too. Freaky, right? 5. The territories in Germany were divided into 4 Allied occupation zones. As decided by the leaders of the Allied powers, the Soviet Union took the eastern half of Germany, while Great Britain, the US, and France took the western half. Berlin was about 100 miles from the western border, smack dab in the eastern or Soviet side of the country. Despite this, the city was also divided into sectors in June 1945, with the Allies again taking the western half of the city itself and the Soviets taking the eastern half. The Soviets did not like the capitalist city of West Berlin, located in eastern Germany, so they started taking steps to drive out West Berlin and its capitalist agenda from the region. First, they tried to starve them out of the city by setting up a blockade of West Berlin. However, the Allies airdropped in supplies to the residents, over 2.3 million tons of food and other supplies to be exact, delivered for over a year during Operation Berlin Airlift. In 1949, the Soviet blockade was finally stopped. The waters were calm again until 1958. Over the previous decade, around 3 million refugees and defectors, including skilled workers such as engineers, teachers, and doctors, crossed over to West Berlin from the east. This humiliated the Soviets. On August 13, 1961, the Soviet premier decided it was best to close the border by constructing a concrete block wall with barbed wire, officially dividing East and West. In this way, East Germany could keep out the fascists from the West and maintain their socialist state. In order to get around the wall, you had to go through one of the 3 checkpoints, at which East German soldiers screened travelers, diplomats, and other officials. The wall was later fortified, made much higher and sturdier, and on the East German side, a gauntlet-type area served to prevent any more defectors from crossing via floodlights, tripwire traps, and dogs. This wall stood from 1961 to 1989, 28 years. On November 9th of 1989, the border was opened. People were now free to cross again from east to west and vice versa. The live coverage of those crowds that swarmed the wall with hammers and picks to tear down this wall, as President Ronald Reagan so famously put it, was scary and exhilarating at once. Cranes and bulldozers did the rest. All of this fascinating footage was caught on live TV. The ensuing celebration that occurred as the floodgates were opened was called the greatest street party in the history of the world by one journalist. Though the event was celebratory, it was also scary, as no one knew what the future held in Germany. As it turns out, a united Germany would be a leader in the 21st century and one of the strongest economies in Europe. In some parts of the world, it's customary to never put your shoes on in a hurry. Here's why. A large snake has coiled up in the toe of his shoe and refuses to get out. If he had put it on without looking, then the snake would have no doubt defended itself. He says that this is a non-venomous juvenile rat snake, and I wanted to know if this is an accurate description. I see no bright markings, so I would say he's at least right about the non-venomous part. He gets it out using a hook they keep around just for this purpose and does not seem too worried about it, but as far as I'm concerned, any snake in my shoe should be considered highly dangerous. After watching this creepy video, I might start checking my shoes each time before I put them on. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Fighters travels to the same tunnel system as Dark Arts TV. He is explaining his nervous anticipation when a loud scrape occurs directly over his shoulder. No one is near him. You can tell by everyone's distant chatter that they are pretty far away. Listen for yourself and tell me if you agree no one else was nearby, at least no one alive.
This video is going to be far.
They all get a really bad feeling upon discovering what could be fragments of human. Look at this part and tell me if he is tossing a part of someone's jaw or just a random piece of debris. I was wondering if these could belong to an animal, but then they discover a large collection of combs left over top. Like this one, for example. So I think we may have sadly found our answer. They are ready to leave before they come across any other horrible discoveries, but something follows them. This extremely creepy low laugh follows them on their way out, while the rest of the audio remains the same. In fact, what's especially scary is how one of these girls lets out a small chuckle shortly before this noise comes out.
People like pulling the fire game.
Alright, so right now, with our homie scared spiders, we're trying to...
Almost as if it's laughing in response. Listen for yourself and tell me if you think this is edited or not. A YouTuber named Dark Corners is exploring the deep web when he comes across a video that he instantly regrets watching due to a possible curse. A nauseating noise forces him to take off his headphones, and even though it's in a different language, he still knows that he has witnessed something he was never meant to see. If you are able to read Japanese, please translate the text into English so we can all better understand. I just wanted to add that this long beep is exactly the same noise that hospital equipment makes when you flatline, which leads me to think that this text could be talking about ending your very life. Let me know if you think my suspicions are correct, or if I was way off with this assumption. Perhaps the film night at the museum wasn't too far off. This statue, located in England's Manchester Museum, appears to come to life. The ancient Egyptian statue dates back to around 1800 BC, and perhaps is cursed by an ancient Egyptian spell. According to the museum's curator, Campbell Price, one day he noticed the 10-inch statue had turned entirely around. As reported by Manchester Evening News, Price said, "I thought it was strange because it is in a case and I'm the only one who has a key. When Price moved it back to its original position, he found it had moved again the very next day. He decided the next step was to set up a time-lapse video, but the video raised more questions than it answered, as the statue was caught red-handed rotating counterclockwise on its own by increments that wouldn't appear visible to the human eye. This occurs only during the daytime. The statue is still at night. While an Egyptian spell isn't off the table, one British physicist thinks the movement can be explained by something called differential friction. Brian Cox says this friction is caused by the footsteps of museum goers, whose vibration moves the statue during the day. Price, however, calls this into question, as the statue has been housed at the museum since the early 20th century, and it hasn't moved before. It also appears to be turning in a perfect circle and only up to 180 degrees, so that it's facing backward. Even more interesting, on the rear of the statue is an inscription requesting offerings of bread, oxen, and fowl. Perhaps this is the answer. The statue needs to be fed. These British YouTubers are having a look around an old synagogue that hasn't been used in ages. The space is well lit, and soon they stumble upon a ladder leading to a much darker attic area. One of them bravely climbs along the wooden rafters and goes much farther out than the rest. Everything is going fine until he makes the mistake of stepping on the much weaker fluffy white insulation. He just barely catches himself and now hangs suspended from the ceiling, too stunned to scream. His upper half still in the attic and his bottom half dangling in the air. Look down the hole and you can see he's at a dizzying height. If he hadn't quickly grabbed onto the rafters for support, there would be nothing to keep him from free falling to the bottom. In a dark tunnel, no one can hear you scream, except for maybe the odd urban explorer wandering through that tunnel. Cringy Parkour published this footage in May of 2017 writing, "I heard like screeching or something in the tunnel and I want to go check it out. At first I thought it was like a pig or something. But what I record on the camera obviously was not a pig." The clip shows this YouTuber marching quickly through the dark tunnel ahead. There's water at the base of the tunnel, random graffiti on the walls, and it seems like it should be empty. What is this sound then? It doesn't sound like a scream. Shared by YouTuber Random Videos 5, a supposed witch was captured on camera approaching the security guard in the street late at night. Let's see it unfold. As he nears the wailing sound, he starts reciting a prayer, and then he sees her. The witch comes toward him, wailing. To me, she appears to walk very stiffly and has an uncanny narrow form. The security guard backs away as she continues to bellow. I think this is a real witch. I've never seen or heard anything like it before. And what I really want to know is if she is cursing him. And are we cursed too by proxy? We better say sorry to this witch before we're cursed next. Klaus finds something in his basement that's so scary. He has set up multiple cameras in his basement to try and capture it on camera. All he finds is this extra creepy layer of skin dried up against the wall. Listening to the sound the skin makes when touched is enough to make me want to peel out of my own.
What in the world?
He says it's juvenile, and I'd say that's a safe bet since it can't be finished growing if it is still shedding its skin from time to time.
Ladies and gentlemen, that right there is a big snake. And it's somewhere in my basement.
You can see where the snake used the grooves between two stones to rub off its old skin and emerge even bigger than before. A Google search reveals snakes will come into the basement through basement cracks and even through drains if you have any plumbing hooked up down there. Once they're in, the only way to get them to leave is to remove them by hand or call for help. The description says it's over 3 feet long. Assuming he measured accurately, I'd say it's time to leave this one up to the pros. In 2010, a man from South Jersey named Nick mysteriously went missing. His older brother Mark vanished shortly thereafter. Their small town was devastated by these back-to-back disappearances and feared the worst. There wasn't a shred of evidence for police to go off of, at least not until a few months later when one of Nick's high school acquaintances receives this mysterious post office package. Inside the package are memory cards and hard drives with hundreds of videos to analyze. Eerily enough, the return address was Nick's house, so either Nick sent this himself or someone else mailed it on his behalf well after his disappearance. Perhaps it was sent by whoever was responsible. A lot of the videos are typical teenage vlogging material you'd expect from 2010. Basic stuff like making a sandwich or watching TV. But on the other hand, there are at least 30 videos containing super creepy information relevant to his whereabouts, or should I say his possible remains. Let's retrace Nick's steps. On September 3rd, 2010, Nick goes to the notoriously haunted Pleasant Mill Cemetery in Batstow, Jersey to see what he can find. On the other side of an old bridge in the woods, he sees some 1800 burial markers and an old church that makes him feel creeped out. Though whatever he thinks he sees while standing on this bridge is what freaks him out the most. This is where voices are said to sometimes be heard on the water. Tell me if you see anything. I honestly can't say I see anything strange, but maybe something was there that didn't show up on camera. The video ends with him running back to his car looking very serious and scared, wide eyes and all, so he probably really did see something strange. He never wants to go back there again, but sometimes the experience eats away at him until a week later on September 10th, when he goes back to settle his curiosity once and for all, this time with his friend Austin. Night has fallen by the time they arrive. There's not much activity by the old church, so they walk over to the river. They don't hear anything and aren't really that scared, so they challenge each other to sit in the darkness under the bridge, the very same bridge where Nick first saw something, mind you. And as soon as their lights go out, they make contact.
You hear that?
When they turn their lights on to see what's out there, they see this broad goblin-like face looking back at them, soon followed by a splash of water, like something jumping at them, or else reaching up from the depths below. Away they run and away it follows. I don't know what this thing is, but since they've disturbed its home twice now, it decides to return the favor. What you're about to witness happened on the very same night. Nick sees movement behind this curtain wall and thinks it has to be his older brother Mark. It certainly looks like someone's hands, and yet no one's there. Suddenly it grows very cold where he's standing, cold enough to see his own breath, which is odd considering it isn't cold enough to see his breath when he's outside looking for Mark. They really should have stopped going there, but on September 18th they try again. This time, after following these strange lights in the woods, they discover something they were never meant to have. This nondescript book has no title, but I want to know more about this strange binding. It looks like part of a protective ritual, or maybe even a curse upon whoever opens it without permission. Nick grabs it and they go get something to eat, and that's subsequently when they start getting followed even worse than ever before. By now, Nick and Austin have developed somewhat of an unhealthy obsession with the Pleasant Mill Cemetery. It scares them, but it also attracts them and they can't stop going. Maybe something there is enticing them to return. Something that wants its book back. And the more times they visit, the stronger its presence becomes at home.
What? Tired of this. Wait. What the?
When you look at the picture before it falls at 10 minutes and 28 seconds, I think it's a picture of Mark, the older brother who would soon disappear. On September 27th, Nick and Austin make a discovery that they seem to shrug off but I think is important. It's inside of an old house that they find not too far from the cemetery. The outside looks like it went ablaze a long time ago. Through a square hole in the floor, they spy an area that looks like it could have been a secret chamber when covered. They get a really bad feeling and don't want to go down, but Austin makes a simple observation that I think speaks volumes.
Oh, it smells. Alright, we're wasting time. We gotta go.
It could be mold, or it could be a body that hasn't been disturbed in quite some time. Things get really crazy after they discover the possible body. By November 2nd, Mark is gone and nobody knows where he went. Nick goes back to the cemetery to look for his brother, and this final recording is what he finds. A tall figure with an all-white face marches toward him, with a long tool in his hand. All I will say is that it looks like Nick sadly met the same fate as his brother. What happens when you're stuck at McDonald's during an earthquake? You record it, of course. When he quickly snapped up his Android phone to capture this crazy quake at the local McDonald's, taken at a location in California. In the video, you can see the overhanging light shaking and swaying. The clip is short and to the point, but it reminds us that nature can and will attack anywhere and everywhere it pleases. A paranormal investigator named Jeff Stetik's world walks into an abandoned house through a door that was kicked open long ago. An old woman once lived here, and all of her possessions are still inside, mostly various clothing items and trinkets, and quite a few photos. He is looking at two black and white pictures of a boy, perhaps a grandchild or a son, when he hears a faint sound coming from further down the hall.
What was that?
He detects nothing with his untrained eye, but as his camera adjusts to the darkness, it does pick up a small outline pressed up against the wall. Perhaps the very same boy in the pictures he was just observing. All of this escapes him as he calmly exits, completely unaware of the boy cloaked darkness just one room away.
Rocking chairs moving on tune.
This YouTuber's house is so haunted. His possessions act possessed even when brought outside. Take this rocking chair for example, which he records moving on its own.
Not really that windy.
When he looks around at 1 minute and 20 seconds, you can see the flowers and trees are still. Nothing is blowing in the wind because there is no wind, yet he makes a request to move the chair again. The ghost tilts the chair forward one time to confirm that yes, it is in fact there and fully aware.
Can you rock it some more? We got a visitor.
Two ghost hunters from a UK channel called Paranormal Hauntings go exploring an abandoned building called the Ye Old Harrow Inn, a place well known for paranormal activity. Investigating the front desk leads to this moment of spooky tranquility.
Just gonna turn that off. A minute.
Their camera has caught an abundance of orbs in this area. In this area alone, including one extra bright orb that outshines the rest, a spirit they claim. Dust covers everything they've been exploring in this abandoned place, so maybe that was it. The ghost hunters unpack their equipment and capture some rather scary EVPs on video. Something in the next room over speaks to them from the darkness.
That looks creepy. I can see her. Are you down the corridor?
A woman whispers to take her hand. Apparently, she's sitting in the doorway, watching, and maybe even reaching out for them. This CCTV footage comes from the London Dungeon, a famous tourist attraction in England that's rumored to be haunted. An employee is tending to their duties in the laundry room all alone. When they go to open the door to the washing machine, a hand reaches out and makes a grab at them. Weirder still is how the camera switches to static merely moments before this happens. Since technological malfunctions can often indicate the presence of the paranormal, and also given the location, I think this strange video could definitely be real, and if so, it's something that this employee will never be able to unsee. This couple is dedicated to, as their description states, the search of paranormal activity in places with terrifying histories, as is sometimes possible when investigating. Ghosts have followed investigators to their homes, and they believe someone they made contact with on a previous investigation did just that. On January 21st, 2021, they hosted a live stream to document what they believed was a haunting in their home. Hoping to document evidence and find answers, they invited the public to join on their session. The first half of the investigation seems to produce little results, but something rather disturbing appears as they venture down the stairs. Through a glazed window overlooks the stairs, the figure of a woman can be seen staring towards the camera. At first glance, it can be easily mistaken for a painting, but when inspecting it closer, you can see there is actual 3D depth to it, something a painting would be impossible to have. The figure looks either like a woman with long dark hair or someone wearing a robe. To further prove it is not a painting, the same window is shown a few minutes later and the figure is gone. Furthermore, they venture outside to show the other side, and it is several feet above the ground, making it impossible for anyone to get up there without a ladder. Nothing around the window resembles the figure, as it has simply vanished. As they descend further down the stairs, an orb can be seen flying fast across the top left corner of the screen. Once they reach the bottom step, a loud, low exhale can be heard.
La esfera.
The sound is too low pitched to be either of the couple, as we could hear them breathe beforehand and it doesn't match. It is also possible it was the sound of something sliding, although we cannot see what or if anything moves. Unfortunately, the remainder of the video becomes uneventful and other apparent orbs can be easily explained. For example, while they are filming a mirror, a glowing orb-like spectacle can be seen flying around. However, when the camera's light is turned off, it disappears, meaning it was simply a glare from the light itself. It's terrifying to imagine something becoming attached to you and following you back to your home. It's one of the risks when going on investigations, meaning it is not for the faint of heart. It also shows how there are more than just the physical dangers on these adventures, with even professional investigators such as Ghost Adventures suffering from severe states of paranormal oppression and even possession. It goes as a warning for those who decide to take up the cause for themselves. Take heed and be aware of what you are getting into, even if you are a skeptic or non-believer. Respect the locations you are visiting. Some videos are so terrifying that you may catch yourself holding your breath. A landlord named Jill Prevost is in the basement of a rental property when she sees a furious house cat guarding the top of the steps. The angry, hissing animal descends upon her within seconds. Watch this part and you'll see the cat attack her purse with all of its might. Jill simply holds it in front of her for protection. Otherwise, the rampaging animal could have easily been climbing up her leg. There is nowhere to run except past the cat up the stairs. Once upstairs, she immediately grabs a broom and remains stuck in the house until the owner comes back.
Get away. This cat just attacked me.
This video is definitely bizarre until you realize cats instinctively go for areas that cause the most damage, like the face or throat. Though it may be a domestic house cat, it is nonetheless protecting its territory with everything it's got, so who knows what would have happened if the owner had not come to Jill's rescue in time. One of the most fearsome visions of a shadow person ever caught on camera. This clip will have any skeptic questioning things. Originally published by Ghosts of Carmel, Maine, this scary video was captured by its haunted homeowner. As the homeowner enters a bedroom, a full shadow figure is seen sitting on the bed, outlined by the light from the window. The man panics and steps out of the room for a moment. A split second later, when he returns, the figure has vanished. Are you convinced of the existence of shadow figures? I am. Jails offer no privacy, and a lot of them have CCTV equipment in nearly every corner. This video of an empty cell seems ordinary enough until the shadow materializes out of nowhere. The restless spirit briefly paces in a circle and then goes to the far corner. It seems to step onto the toilet and then jumps out of sight. If this is not CGI, then it could be a spirit reenacting the final moments before taking its own life with a rope or something similar. This is sadly a common practice in jail and can be done with anything from shoelaces to a tied up shirt. Maybe a desperate inmate once tied something around their neck to the bars above and jumped off the toilet. They were obviously trying to escape their punishment, but now it looks like they doomed themselves here for all eternity. This ghost hunter crosses into haunted territory with only his faith and a camera. Caught on tape is a giant unknown creature that does some really scary things. 11 minutes and 28 seconds is when they notice the shine of its eyes.
ये यार ये देख लाइट लग रहा है यार कमरे के अंदर से हाँ ये देख ओह अल्लाह देखा रिकॉर्ड किया लाइट लग रहा
Lying on the roof is something much larger than them.
ये अल्लाह अकबर ये देख अस्तगफुरुल्लाह ये क्या है यार रहीम हाँ वो मामूली नजर आ रहा है देखो मामूली नजर आ रहा है इधर ओह अल्लाह अकबर इधर रहीम इधर
A mysterious figure peeks from the window. Watchful eyes retreat down the roof as they approach.
हाँ दिख रहे अस्तगफिरुल्लाह दिख रहे अल्लाह ऊपर ये देख अस्तगफिरुल्लाह ये क्या है अल्लाह ये देख यार पैरानॉर्मल शोज में पहली दफा दुनिया में यार इस तरह की कोई चीज अस्तगफिरुल्लाह अल्लाहु अकबर
Footsteps turn them around, but nothing's there, and when they turn back, the figure is in the window again, along with the creature above. What is this bizarre thing looking at them from the doorway? And is it paranormal? I think it could be. This footage comes from the Lincoln County Courthouse in Charlotte, North Carolina. Deputies are watching the security monitors after hours when they spot a woman standing alone in an empty room. They rush into the nearby location to see what she is up to and if she needs help. Not only is the woman still there, but she is totally transparent and they are able to walk straight through her. When the local news channel comes to investigate, they see the same ghost again, this time in the cashier's office.
While shooting today, we saw it again in color in the middle of the screen, just over Barbara Jones' shoulder.
Both times, the ghostly woman appears to be jotting something down in a notepad. Some people are suggesting that she could just be a reflection, but the news team could find nothing capable of replicating the highly detailed shape of a woman. If this really is a spirit, then who knows why she is here, or what supernatural secrets her notepad holds. Nathan, Tube Your Life, lives in a remote mountain location and has never revealed his home address. This still doesn't stop someone from apparently figuring out where he lives and paying him a visit. Nathan wasn't home at the time, so they decide to leave a really creepy note for him to come back to. The person leaves their personal cell phone number with instructions to call. Just the fact that they were essentially tracking Nathan down makes this note come off as aggressive and weird. I think it would be really interesting if someone could analyze the handwriting and tell me more about this potential stalker's personality. Later, Nathan musters up the courage to make contact with his fan, and the conversation is about as eerie as you'd expect.
I'm watching you right now. Bro, I've been watching you for like the past 2 weeks. I'm in the tree right beside your room. I'm waiting.
Nathan looks around, but ultimately he doesn't see anyone else. They probably were not nearby because they could have made a noise if they really wanted Nathan to see where they were. I think this probably is just one of his friends, or else some random weirdo messing with his head. Then again, a short while later, he sees a black SUV speeding away that he has never seen before. So maybe someone really was watching his every move from a distance. I was looking for more information about this security cam video because it's really creepy. It is said to be taken from a lab experiment in Russia. The test subject lies in bed and begins to shake like something has gone seriously wrong. Nobody comes to help them and the camera continues to silently record. After a while, the test subject begins to levitate in the air, and the video ends shortly afterwards. This almost has to be special effects, and some people say that they could have seen this from a movie while others swear it was real. It looks pretty real to me, but if you've seen this from any Hollywood production, then let us know. An Xbox Kinect is probably the last thing that you would ever expect to use to capture a ghost, but that's what Keith Weldon apparently did on his channel called Weldon Paranormal. This ghost hunter received a call to investigate paranormal activity at an antique store in Rocklin, California, so he packed up his equipment and headed over. The owner of this shop believed that a spirit was attached to an antique piece of furniture. To find the ghost, they used a Kinect camera that's hooked up to a laptop using special ghost hunting software. The software uses the Kinect's motion sensing capabilities to detect and map out any invisible forms in the room. Nothing is happening at first, so after a while, they decide to play old music that's from the same time period as the haunted furniture. Sure enough, they capture a ghost apparently dancing behind them.
And then it has that figure over there and it looks like it's dancing again.
Do you like the music?
Like literally like got rhythm and like...
Oh yeah.
When they turn the music off, they try to interact with the ghost some more.
She's shying away. Yeah. Oh my god.
It's holding your hand.
I know.
If this footage is real, then it could be the first time a true human-to-ghost interaction has ever been recorded. I don't understand the technology behind this equipment, so I can't say if it's real or fake, but if you're a ghost hunting expert and can verify this footage, then please let me know. There's a Redditor who's been posting clips of their encounters with the paranormal to my subreddit for over a year now. They go by Paranormal Gems, and I thought we could watch some of their most popular submissions. There's certainly plenty to choose from. This one is titled, Confederate Ghost Caught on Camera While Hiking on Pilot Mountain, North Carolina.
That's not that one's poisonous.
Is it really?
That one.
Oh, there's more than one of them, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This one is titled, Seems our Lego ghost likes playing with my granddaughter's desk. Notice if you slow it down, the orbs fly from and to the Kinect image. This one is titled, The Ghost in Our House is Always Moving My Lego Collection Around. I caught this with my cell phone. Watch under the glass coffee table and under the Ziploc baggie next to the Legos. Something reaches out several times and touched the toys. I'm a little freaked. This one is titled, My EMF starts going off so I point my phone in the direction. Happens often. This one is titled, I came home and my cellar door was wide open. I always keep it closed, so I thought someone was in my cellar, but I was too afraid to go in and look, so I used my camera to try and see into the dark. I slowed the video. That is not a moth you see at first. Keep watching and zoom in. That was just 5 of their most popular submissions. There's still many other paranormal encounters they've posted as well. What do you think is going on here? Are spirits just attaching themselves to paranormal gems? Or do you think there is another explanation here? Let me know in the comments. This phantom is on a shopping spree. Published by Phantom Encounter in April of 2020, security footage captured some strange activity in this shop after hours. A meditation book is thrown to the floor from a stand next to the owner's desk. A moment later, a loud noise is heard off screen, like something has been dropped to the floor. The owner says she's familiar with this noise because it happens frequently. One of the handmade lampshades has been thrown to the floor. What do you think is going on here? Jones Margaret writes in the comments, considering the age of the building and its history along with the age of the buildings around you, it isn't surprising that you have so many ghosts. I have to agree, this activity does seem to suit the environment. A famous Malaysian YouTuber caught some supremely scary moments on live stream that have left him and all of his followers really freaking out. It's just another normal night at his house, spending time with roommates, when they get an idea to see who is the bravest. They've been suspecting their house was haunted for a long time and dare each other to go room to room with the lights off. The first 2 rooms are fine, but just when it looks like this was all for nothing, some scary things are caught on camera. Standing in the corner of the room is a silent spirit that Malaysian culture refers to as a pocong. A sighting of one of these spirits can be seen as a cry for help. They need to have someone undo their shroud so within 40 days, they can be freed from this world. With that in mind, I really don't blame him from running away instead of running forward. I don't think I would have the courage to undo its binds and withstand the rotten figure beneath. Seeing one in their own home must have been terrifying. A YouTuber named Area Awesomeness claims these pet leeches are for more than just a show. Apparently they can help treat things, but the only way to experience these supposed benefits is by letting a leech latch on to you. And believe it or not, these ones are only about a year old and not even full size. Adults can grow up to 2 feet in length and would pack an even bigger bite. With this in mind, the whole situation stresses me out too much to try it, but that's just my opinion. Tell me what you think about this part.
They can either be fed, I guess, human blood, animal blood, whatever you prefer.
And if you would be brave enough to try. An older brother is trying to show his younger sibling that Bloody Mary is not real. Now the 2 of them are alone in the bathroom to test this theory out. They say her name 3 times in the dark, and when they turn the lights back on, they mistakenly think they are safe.
Open, move. See, it's all over. See, nothing's gonna happen.
Years ago, everyone was talking about a possible witch sighting on the side of the road in India that went viral. Now a second scary video is making rounds, this one possibly taken from around the same area. An older traveler with a cane appears to be walking down the middle of the road at night in bright white robes. As the driver gets closer, he is surprised to find the strange man is taking steps, but not moving forward, almost like a ghost. Tell me what they are saying here, because they sound excited and I would really like to know what their real reaction to a ghost sighting was. Then the strange figure begins to walk backwards in slow, jerky movements, without so much as even looking behind him once. This is probably one of their friends, but if they actually caught a real ghost on camera, like they think they have, then I guess the paranormal apparition would have no reason to fear cars. And after all, the worst has already happened, and now this feeble ghost is forever forced to explore the haunted road, where potentially its life came to pass. An invasion of the home is violating enough, but what happens when the invader is a squatter? Posted by Slav Gavin to the Chills Narrator subreddit. This video was originally published to YouTube by Chino Sky Blue in April of 2017, who explains, "When I opened my front door, there was a girl squatting in my apartment. I had been renting the apartment since March 1st, but had not been staying there. On Friday, April 14th, when I entered my apartment to retrieve some clothes, this was who was in my apartment. At the beginning of the video, the woman in question runs up to the man filming, saying she didn't know she wasn't supposed to be here. She asks if he's going to show anyone this video, and he responds that he's calling the authorities. As the man continues to film, the woman says she doesn't want to get caught up in this, whatever that means, and claims she doesn't remember the previous night and just woke up here. She asks the man not to hold her there, but the man insists that she stay to explain to the authorities what's going on. She starts to panic, but he says he's not pressing charges against her.
I want you to stay here for the police when the police do come. But listen, I'm recording everything. I'm giving you my word that I just want you to explain it to the police, but I'm not trying to press no charges against you.
The only one he has a problem with is whoever has allowed her here. While the girl steps outside, claiming she doesn't know what's going on. That's where the video ends. We'd sure like an update on what happened after this, why this girl was squatting here, who let her in, and what happened as a result. But the channel hasn't posted any further videos. Does anyone have any idea what's going on here? Some in the comments think the man handled the situation well. Others suggest she's crazy and he should be more cautious with the situation. But YouTuber Macron435 perhaps has the most interesting theory. He writes, plot twist, that's her house. Are we being possessed by shadowy forces without even knowing it? Posted on Blah Blah's channel in January of 2022. This scary video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. The footage shows a woman walking a dirt path along a hillside overlooking a city. She is carrying a bag and she's alone. As the cameraman follows a short way behind, a mysterious and barely visible dark figure comes toward the woman on the path. The shadow figure runs right at the woman, but she doesn't notice it and continues on her way. Did the spirit possess her? Well, this captured our imaginations. As it turns out, after doing some research, I found the video is VFX produced by YouTuber Dark3. Still, the image will prompt you to look over your shoulder the next time you think you're alone. You never know what's behind you until it's too late. This one is a head scratcher. Redditor Nikki Nabs explains that her dad was in a local pub when something unusual happened. Watch the guy's shoelace. Did you see that? It looks like something undid his shoelace. Some in the comments say the lace was stuck under his left foot and the shoe untied when he moved his right foot. Is that what you're seeing here? I think they might be right. Then again, a mischievous specter would be more fun. Houses can make funny house noises, but that doesn't seem to be the case with this video. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Ramasaurez, the Redditor explains that he woke up to loud footsteps in the hallway and the sound of something in the attic being dragged. He says the attic is not used for storage, but as a small crawl space. He was home alone when this happened. In the clip, you can faintly hear footsteps pounding and then the dragging noise as Ramasaurez lies still and silent. In the comments, Redditor Dejness suggests to go check it out, noting that people have had issues with squatters in the past. Even though the chances are slim, there's a definite possibility. As Dejness advises, look for any sign of someone's been living there, missing food, stuff misplaced, food wrappers, and if you do end up believing someone is in your house, maybe try installing a security camera. Some Redditors add that having something to protect themselves with nearby would be smart. Others advise to just record the sound and call the authorities instead of investigating himself, as who knows what the stranger would do. In another vein, some think it would be animals making nests up there, but the Redditor says the attic was completely sealed. The potential for the paranormal is on other Redditors' radar, including the OPs. He states that a couple of his family members had paranormal experiences inside the home, although he doesn't elaborate on what those experiences were. Then again, maybe it's just someone who had no other place to go. This next video shows that even a zipline is in perfect condition. With flawless equipment is never truly safe. Sometimes things just go wrong. A giant gator pops up to try and snag this instructor out of the air. There is a decent amount of space between the two, but I'm sure it was plenty close enough if you asked her. And she definitely knows what waits for her should she ever make a future mistake and fall in. So I guess the final and most important lesson of ziplining over water is to always keep your legs up, because you never know what's lurking below the surface waiting to take a chomp. I have no idea about the date, time, or location of this video. All I know is that it's supposedly been uploaded to the deep web because the original uploader didn't want to be tracked by the federal government in retaliation for getting their story out. A large bright blue object is quietly claiming the night sky outside of an apartment complex.
What is this? What is that? It's a 1 inch or
After a while, the sky blob stops in place and begins to expand outwards. Whatever it is, by the end of the video, it seems to take up nearly half of the sky. If this is real, then we probably would have never known any of this had ever happened without the anonymous deep web. This rare video was taken about a year ago. During the middle of a séance, the group is moving the pointer in a circle to clear the board when suddenly the camera woman asks,
"Can you manifest into an orb near Sam?"
There is a bit of an accent, but her exact words are, "Can you manifest into an orb near Sam?" Sure enough, a tiny ball of white light darts past the group shortly after. It could be editing, it could be a coincidence, or it could be a very polite and respectful ghost who is doing exactly as they were told. If you think you see someone that others don't, you may be right. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Christina7658, the Redditor explains that a friend that works at a Subway in South Texas recorded this footage from a security monitor after a coworker kept seeing a cowboy who apparently wasn't really there. The bad quality of the footage is due to the fact that this happened more than 10 years ago. This is what the pair found when they reviewed it. A shadow figure is seen rising from the ground near the entryway. The mist-like figure appears to hover for a moment before making its exit through the window. This has most in the comments freaked out, with Typeractive Audie stating, "You can see his hat. I won't sleep tonight." Other Redditors like JCKCS Mama debunk the all too common insect on the lens theory by stating that the anomaly doesn't appear from the edges of the camera frame, as one might expect a crawling insect to. Instead, it seems to come directly from the ground. Christina also states that the anomaly appears to take on the window tint as it exits the building. She also notes that the worker who kept seeing the cowboy had seen it throughout her entire shift. There used to be another video of her washing dishes, and a black blob like the one in the video is next to her. Although she couldn't find the other video, the combination of events has many leaning towards the paranormal. Others suggest that corruption of the videotape or the camera's hardwire issues could be a more practical explanation. But is that what you're seeing here? A man from Calgary is heading into work after a long Canadian Thanksgiving weekend when he sees the screen to the window has been pulled off and set carefully next to the door. Fearing an intruder, he plays back the security camera footage and finds something even scarier.
Creepy.
The screen is tightly secured, but then it pops out all by itself and lands perfectly upright. A gust of wind that strong should also move this object across a table, which it does not. So I vote ghost. Just like he says, it's beyond creepy.
Creepy.
Seen at a distance, TikToker Jen Us58 is wondering, what is that? Let's take a look. The figure appears to be running in the beginning and then, mysteriously, stands frozen still. When the driver flashes its lights, the figure starts running again. He gets closer and finds that the figure appears headless. It then disappears into the darkness. But when he returns to his car, he turns to find the ghost has reappeared. So was it a ghost or something else? While I'm pondering that question, most in the comments are wondering why the guy even got out of his car. Steve Richards and Jason Griffiths make up the Ouija brothers, a fearless ghost hunting duo from the English Midlands. What makes them different from most, aside from their bravery, is that they are more skeptical and often set out to debunk famous haunted locations rather than promote them. With that said, they may have met their match at Shepton Mallet Prison. Built in 1610, Shepton Mallet Prison is the oldest prison in the country and also was the longest running until its closure in 2013. 4 centuries of brutal treatment have since created hostile spirits who were, for the most part, already not good people to begin with. So much horror has happened here that a strange feeling of negative energy is said to have washed over the very walls themselves, and it isn't long before the Ouija brothers, despite their usual level-headedness, find themselves looking over their shoulder and questioning every sound. Sure, any building that's centuries old is bound to make some really creepy noises, and some of what they record just sounds like the foundation setting and stuff like that. But other encounters, like what happens here only 2 minutes into their investigation, seems to be in response to a very specific question.
Are you upstairs?
I agree with them that it's coming from somewhere above, but let me know if you do too. Whatever's following them, it seems to prefer to have a height advantage at all times. But check this part out at 8 minutes and 25 seconds. Jason actually looks up a split second before he hears the noise. So did they plan this and he messed up? Or did he sense it moments prior?
Is that you?
He was up above, weren't he?
Confident they found a particularly haunted prison wing to explore, the Ouija brothers walk past each cell, encouraging anything inside to come forth, and they gently coax the spirit into revealing itself. Steve is too busy looking straight ahead and misses the light anomaly appear against the wall right next to him. I fully admit that it could be their camera equipment, but it never happens again a single time. And get this, the light appears at the exact same moment. Jason wanted to know if the spirit remembers what life was like at Shepton Mallet Prison.
If you wish to come out, knock on the door that you want to come out of. Do you remember?
Neither of them see this though, and so unaware that it's already worked, Jason continues to talk to the spirit about how the prison guards were able to go home while they had to stay here, and out comes the loudest bang of all.
Whoa, what was that?
But that's not all they hear. They get out the electromagnetic meter to try and measure air currents for paranormal activity. Nothing happens at first, but then it beeps loudly and turns green for a long time. They can't get the meter to do it again, and are trying to figure out if this was a glitch when they are interrupted by something scary mid-sentence. I'll enhance the audio to make it easier to hear.
It sounded very violent, didn't it?
It's a small muffled voice from far away, so tiny and distant that it shouldn't have even registered on camera, not with that heavy door closed behind them, and yet it reaches their ears with alarming clarity. They agree it's a woman, but still they are unable to pinpoint its exact location, and when they go outside, the prison is as empty as ever. According to legend, this could be the voice of one of the oldest prisoners, a woman known only as the Woman in White. She is said to have taken the life of her fiance and passed away in 1680 from regret. Now she wanders the A and B wings moaning her sorrows, and as they are searching for her, the electromagnetic reader they left behind goes crazy once again, indicating that while they may have left the room, perhaps she has not, and the reason why they were able to hear her so clearly was because her ghostly presence had been standing not in another room, but behind them all along. When a YouTuber named Noah Faddis learns that an old section of his school is haunted, he and his friends grab a camera and check it out. They are making a parody of shows like Ghost Hunters when suddenly their skit is interrupted by running footsteps and knocking on the walls. Noah sprints off to investigate while his friends hang back. Loud noises fill the hallway from all directions, and then everything gets way too quiet. The two remaining friends strain their eyes and hear Noah's twisted voice calling out for them.
Okay, we're done. No, let's go.
Soon Noah comes around the corner looking vicious and ready for a confrontation. Either this entire video is just a school project, or whatever is down here seems to have claimed Noah for themselves, and I doubt they are giving him back anytime soon. These bizarre chittering noises, recorded in the middle of the woods at almost 3 a.m., were loud enough to rattle the glass of the window in its pain. Tell me if you can identify this creature, because the uploader is certain that this is a Skinwalker. I personally have no idea what a Skinwalker even sounds like, but if this person lives in the woods and has never heard anything like this before, then I have no reason to doubt them. A group of forest rangers set up a camera at the Platte River State Fish Hatchery in Michigan to live stream a nest of baby bald eagles mature. They were never intending to accidentally capture a second, much larger creature instead during the live feed. A giant humanoid figure covered in what appears to be black fur prowls around the forest floor below. It doesn't look like any other native forest animal, as it clearly stands upright and swings its arms while walking. Maybe it's a person in a full bodysuit, or maybe it's an actual Bigfoot. Then again, since numerous other Bigfoot sightings have been reported in the state over the years, it could very well be legit. These friends are hanging out at the end of a cul-de-sac when one of them, named Robert, loses his skateboard down a deep sewer grate. Most skaters would probably call it quits then and there, but Robert forces his way through the grate and soon becomes just as stuck as his board. They all laugh and make jokes as they wait for rescue workers to arrive, but as you can see by this nervous nail biting, the situation is much more serious than anyone is letting on. Firefighters are unable to pry open a nearby manhole cover. Thinking fast, they send a line down for Robert to grab and eventually fish him out that way. After the whole ordeal is over, one of the men explains that Robert is lucky to still be alive.
You know what's down there? Not really, probably a lot of diseases. Yeah, well, not only that, but there could be like chemicals that could kill you like that, dude. It's a sewer. You know what I'm saying?
This calm and professional explanation will hopefully make Robert think twice if this ever happens again. What is going on in this neighborhood parking lot? Ben Lewis shared this mysterious security footage to Facebook, which appears to show a semi-transparent child figure watch against the house in the center. A moment later, this happens. Did you see the building's light come on? I agree with many in the comments that say it looks like the child ghost is skateboarding. And apparently the place is said to be haunted by a child ghost named Emily, so I believe this is an open and shut case. Aquatic researchers are stunned to see this massive shark pass by their cameras at a depth of 3,300 feet below sea level.
Here he comes again. Here he comes. Got it. Man.
Can you get him on?
Oh, whoa.
God, look how thick he is.
He's huge.
As the giant shark circumnavigates their equipment, the researchers try to estimate its measurements based on the space between the two laser dots. Well, this size falls short of an adult megalodon. Some people have pointed out that this could be a juvenile. Since all scientists have to go off of is their teeth and backbone fossils, we may never know for sure. There is a haunted painting somewhere in this art gallery in Birmingham, UK. The only problem is Ted Whitehall isn't sure which painting it is, so he calls a pastor to hold an exorcism and cleanse every last one of them. Something demonic is determined not to let that happen.
Oh, take it from this place. It has no place here, Lord. I cast this out in the name, and I bind it in the mighty...
An angry ghost keeps slamming the door. It hates whenever the pastor talks about being cast out and keeps doing its best to interrupt him.
I cast you out and bind you in the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. In the name of...
Persistent pastor pushes aside his fear and fires off the final words. You can hear the defeated spirit walk away.
Cast it into the pit, Lord, and bind it forever. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus.
That could just be somebody off camera walking away, so let's turn our attention towards the chair, which Ted says is made of cast iron. Can anybody tell me if this is really made out of cast iron? If so, it should weigh a ton and be virtually impossible to move. To call this paranormal activity would be an understatement. This is one powerful painting.
Hey Michael, is that you?
This video, known to most only as Michael Is That You, has gone viral and spawned a ton of rumors and re-uploads. People are trying to figure out what this creature is and if it's ever been sighted before. One rumor is that the eyes look similar to a February 11th, 2013 rake sighting video taken from somebody's backyard deep in the woods.
Dude, there's some glowing eyes right there.
The eyes are the same color and similarly spaced apart. It also holds its head roughly at the same angle, and like the Michael Is That You video, the eyes never once blink. On April 11th, 2013, there was a second rake sighting from the same person. And once again, this does look similar to 3 seconds into the Michael video where the creature first turns around. Although this 2013 sighting remains an unsolved mystery to this day, the same cannot be said for the Michael Is That You video. I've gotten a lot of requests to analyze this scary video, so I did some digging and here's my final analysis. While this video looks convincing, it's not real. I did some research and was able to track down the original upload to a channel called Zulu Bao Productions. I know this is the original video because it's the only upload that shows exactly how it was made in a 3D rendering program. You can see the creature itself, which isn't so scary, once it stands up straight and loses those glowing green eyes. Once he does make the arms super long and thin and folds it into an unnatural position in the corner of the room, do we get the creepy, mysterious creature that went viral, added detailed skin texture, and we're back to horrifying. I just wanted to give credit to Zach of this channel because so many people asked me to cover this video that I knew I had to find the original source and dispel the rumors. So the next time you see this video somewhere on the internet, you'll know it was fake. This was just something Zach did for fun and practice, in his own words, on December 18th, 2019. He never expected it to go viral, but appreciates the recognition. I think he did a very convincing job, so good of a job that it is still sparking rumors and making its rounds on the internet to this day. In July of 1973, Clara and Phil Dandy moved into this unassuming farmhouse bordering the woods of Hinsdale, New York, thinking that it would be a nice cozy place to raise their children. They would hardly last for more than a year. Their troubles began within days of moving in. Minor annoyances like constant hang-up phone calls and cabinet doors getting left open, and then not so minor things like a soft chanting coming from deep in the woods. Soon apparitions were roaming the 100-year-old house along with faces in the windows. As the weeks dragged into months, they recruited the help of a clergyman named Father Alphonsus to cleanse the house, upon which they claimed to have felt a scream rattle the walls, followed by a period of calm. However, the peace and quiet lasted only a few days before the spirits returned in full force, forcing the devastated Dandy family to move out 13 months later in October of 1974. The house has chewed through a few more families since then. None of them stayed for long, but nobody knows what they saw. The house couldn't sell and fell into a state of disrepair until 2015, when a paranormal investigator named Daniel Clace purchased it for him and his team to conduct their research. Daniel is an author, speaker, and paranormal documentary maker who co-founded the Western New York Paranormal Society in 2012. He has been interested in the paranormal his whole life, and that's why these videos seem legitimate, starting with this one in the downstairs bedroom. These spheres of light could be dust particles, or they could be spirit orbs that appear when the air becomes charged with paranormal energy. One thing that's weird is they are always moving straight up, all of them, and sometimes two at a time. This live camera feed is over 30 minutes long, and not once does an orb move downwards. That's definitely odd. And remember, I said faces are seen in the window. Well, I think this might be one of them, black eyes and all. Daniel uploaded the next video after he led a different team of ghost hunters investigate, a group called the Warriors of the Paranormal. They didn't want to miss anything, so they slept in shifts. One of them, named Bobby Ann, is asleep on the couch when this appears over her. A closer view only presents more questions. I see tiny ears, but the face is blacked out and it has no visible eyes or a mouth. It looks like it could have been fur, but that could also be bare skin. It's not a raccoon or a small dog, but those are the only two things it even remotely resembles. Maybe it could be a hand puppet, but there's no room for a second person to lay beside her, and she is facing the camera with the covers over her, so it can't be her. And it almost definitely can't be a wild animal, because I think even the deepest sleeper would wake with something so close. This is a different view from behind the couch. Bobby Ann turns in her sleep and looks at what's wrong with her arm. This part looks like their arm, but this circled part looks like something entirely different as it raises up then disappears, so maybe it was part of the blanket or something. But this rising dark apparition definitely is not. I don't know about you, but that definitely looked like some shadow person activity, or maybe edited. Either way, I've saved the creepiest part of all for last. Check out this ghostly figure standing over the couch. It looks like a little girl in a dress with her head down watching. I bet you didn't notice, but she was there all along. A YouTuber named Dagger Production is playing the remastered Call of Duty when he hears someone messing with the entrance to his house. According to Dagger Productions, this is the exact moment the encounter began. Listen closely to this part and you'll hear what sounds like the front door slamming as the person runs away. It sounds like the door slams from the other side of the house, but Dagger Productions returns to his room a second later. He wouldn't be able to slam the far door and get back to the camera that fast if he was just making this up. Everyone wants to feel safe and alone in their own home. What happens when you find out you're not? Posted to YouTube in June of 2019, the YouTuber writes, "Man finds creature in ceiling crawl space that apparently laughs at him." The man in the video explains that he's not a believer in the supernatural, he's a skeptic, but sitting alone on the couch in his home that day, he started hearing a noise coming from the roof or the ceiling. He said he could hear it in the light in his living room, so he decided to investigate. In a closet in his home, there's a small hole, big enough to stick a camera through, but it doesn't look quite large enough for a normal-sized human to squeeze through. When he does get his camera up there, you can see your normal everyday attic crawl space, but over in the corner, in the darkness, are two large orbs, a pair of eyes. He sticks the camera back up there, and the eyes appear for a second again, before blinking closed, as he asks the creature what it is, expecting a response from what looks to be an animal. A child or a toy's doll laughter rings through the darkness. Is Chucky in this man's attic, or does that raccoon simply have a very strange cold?
Squirrel? Raccoon? Oh, it closed its eyes. Oh my god!
One thing's for sure, you don't want to hear that laughter coming from anywhere in your home. This creepy paranormal video is believed to be somewhere from Russia. A man cautiously crosses his child's room late at night, clearly frightened by something scary enough that he wants it caught on camera for the world to see. He closes a window that he doesn't remember opening. It's here, he's sure of it. If he keeps waiting, it will be caught on camera. Scary moments are ahead. A pale figure claws at the glass. The sighting of a ghost in the window makes him drop the camera shortly after the apparition is caught on tape. The video is decent quality, but the ghost is low resolution, so I'm not sure if this ghost video is real. Take a closer look and tell me if you think this paranormal video is real or not. A forest and nighttime is a terrible combination. That's what these men find when they set out into the area jungle in the darkness. Facebook user Kaiser Sharam shared this video of a peaceful walk through the moonlit forest. Just kidding, this is anything but peaceful. A couple minutes into the footage, a man points out something lurking amongst the trees, similar to another entry in this list. It appears like a woman with long black hair dressed in white. They keep their distance, only pointing out the figure to the camera. Later, they follow her into an abandoned building. Her long hair disappears around a corner. When they turn the corner, she's vanished. They search through the dark building, but don't cross paths with her again. That is, until they enter the dark and expansive forest. They spot a strange figure. It's not the woman, but appears to be something wrapped in a white sheet. When the man approaches to peer inside, the thing moves. What is it? Could it be some sort of ceremonial figure left to these men by the dark-haired witch? Whatever it is, it bows to the man again as he probes it and then walks away. What do you think this might be? What's inside? I don't think I would unwrap this gift. Isn't it awful when the paranormal ruins your 15-minute break? Published by LD Praja in October of 2018. Mysterious activity in a factory in Sukabumi, Indonesia, had one worker running for the hills. The video shows a young man preparing something in the break room. Behind him, a piece of clothing hanging on a cabinet door starts moving on its own. He must have caught it out of the corner of his eye, because he looks over for a moment, but by that time it's still. Next, the chair behind him starts inching backward and around. The clothing starts moving again as well, but the guy doesn't notice. That is, until the chair is thrown backward and clatters on the ground. The man runs off, never to return again. 2009, a YouTuber named TC Ballinger uploaded 2 ghost videos from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania that are widely regarded by most as being authentic. The first one was taken near Wheatfield Road, about a mile from a major site known only as the Triangular Field, rumored to be quite cursed by the final moments of many. A figure crosses the road accompanied by an echoing moan. Real or fake is my question. TC Ballinger zooms in and picks up another figure, this time in more detail, followed by a third. What is your take on this? Do they look like distinct individuals, or is this the same CGI model being recycled? He then goes on to a different location that is only a half-mile from the triangular field. More spirits appear before him in the same fashion as before. Is this video editing, or did he just capture the real reason why this area as a whole is designated as a no trespassing zone? Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.